Action.
Action, Jackson. What up there, Mr. Deston?
Not much. I know everybody's going to be on here tonight because we got nothing but a storm and rain. There's nothing better to do than to tune in and talk some crappie.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, we're gonna let some folks chime in. I haven't seen nobody yet, but they should be getting here.
For sure.
We haven't had rain down here since I believe it was around July 4th.
Holy smokes, really?
I
That's
mean, any substantial rain. It's been a really long time. Lakes are starting to get low. Um,
that's
a lot of
wild.
the ponds around here are drying up. I mean, it is very, very dry.
How is
Travis
Grenada
Andrews.
doing? I knew you said they were pulling that. Do you know how low it is now?
What is that? What is that?
Grenada?
I think it's they're pulling, but last weekend that tournament up there, I think it was about where it normally is, and we can
Oh,
ask
okay.
some different guys to come on here.
Sweet.
Midwest Outlaw, Tim Smith, Chad, Clay Brown, Chris. Appreciate you guys clicking in. We've got a really, I've had a really good week fishing, so I can't wait to actually talk about it and hear some other today's bite reports from everywhere. Fishing's been really good for me. It's been some little trickiness. I can't wait to really talk about tonight. And I know
Been a
Dustin's
little
had a really good week
shakiness.
too.
Yes. Man, we've had a great week with the crappie for sure.
As you guys see, everybody's hitting that 10K crappie connection. Guys, we're only 900 folks away on YouTube. We're getting there every day. Somebody new subscribing. That's what we need to keep growing the show and keep growing the podcast. And so, like always, if you hadn't hit that subscribe button, do it. I had a couple guys ask me about how do they make sure they tune in every week. And the big thing with that is make sure you turn on your notifications on, especially on the YouTube side of things. And it actually click on your phone at that point and show you, hey, Crappie Connection, today's bite's live right now. So on the YouTube side of things, make sure you turn on your notifications. That way you can know when we're live. It's going to be a busy week for me at Crappie Connection. Thursday, I'll be leaving and heading to Birmingham to the Crappie Expo. Can't wait to see everybody down there. Look forward to these big crappie events, no matter where they're at. And this is going to be a good one. Haven't been to Alabama yet as far as the expos or any big crappie shows. So I'm looking forward to meeting some new folks over in that area and some people that I hadn't met before. So one thing I want to throw out there, and I'm going to mention it again here in a little while, but I've got some Crappie Connection caps. So come by the booth, say hello. There should be somebody at the booth at all times manning it, even if I'm off recording some podcasts and such. But if you come to the Crappie Connection, make sure you come by the Crappie Connection booth. Also have some stickers. Some guys always ask for stickers to put on their boat and the coolers and such. We will have some Crappie Connection stickers down there. So if you want a Crappie Connection sticker or a baseball cap, come by and see us. And I know Crappie Forever will be there as well, and they have some of our hoodies and like these style caps and such down there. They'll be selling for us. So it's going to be a really good event for the crappie fishing industry. So if you're in that neighborhood and not too far to drive and need something to do, come on and chime in. And who's all going? I want to hear that as well. But
We got some
next,
fishing reports coming in too. Brandon Thomas, what's going on? Speaking of, I bet he has a good fishing report from today or yesterday. I know it ain't long since he's been out, so let's hear a fishing report, guys. I want to know how everybody's doing. I seen somebody limited out on the res on standing timber today.
Yep, I don't doubt that at all.
We
Do not ask, but you know, we want to say a special congratulations to
Oh
Taylor
yeah,
for
thanks, Chad.
winning this past weekend. The
Yeah, look.
ACT is it?
Oh yeah, she told I'm held accountable to show you guys this. Oh man,
I'm
first
glad she
place
finally got in your boat and
on the home
brought home
lake.
that
That was her
trophy.
first ever tournament, and she caught big fish, and we won that sucker by a good little bit. We won the. We only fished one day of the tournament, and we won. I think first, second, third, and fifth, or something like that. We did really well, so it felt good to get redemption on the home lake, and
That's a hard one.
yeah, oh my gosh. I always say you have everything to lose and nothing to win on your home lake. That's why a lot of locals don't even fish the home tournaments because there's a lot of, you're supposed to win it. So if you don't, then do you really know it? It just turned into a big deal. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I am a big fan of fishing the home lake. And I learned a big lesson on the last tournament, and I said never again. So I went and did some scouting for this tournament, and man, we did good. It paid off tremendously, and we had a blast. About
Yep.
almost $6,000 richer. So awesome time. Sweet.
What is Taylor going to do with her money?
That is a real good question. We're in the middle of buying a house. She'll probably put it towards something to do with that, I'm sure.
That's awesome, man. I'm very proud of both of
Heck
y'all.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Heck
Very
yes.
good job. And I know Dustin and I talked before that tournament even about
Yeah.
strategy with it, and he knocked it out of the park. So good job with that. And
Yeah.
I can't. We'll let you kick off this week.
Oh yeah.
Today's
For sure.
bite fishing report with how you want it. Grand Lake, Oklahoma.
For sure. And I just went out today with Ken Robertson. He fished that tournament, and then he was going out to scout today. And I said, "I'll show you where them big girls was." So we went and went back out there, and I caught another $5,000 fish today. So and what Brad is saying, before we went live last week, I've never been so confident on a tournament in my life. From what I found, and I just know what that lake produces, and a 1.5 pound fish is a really, really big fish in the summer on this lake. And I caught several 170s to 2 pounds. And I thought, oh my goodness, if this pattern stays, and I remember telling you that if this pattern stays, it's going to be crazy. And it was actually up the river. I ran up the river, followed the channel, and just was checking these flats and off of these ledges. And these big fish were pulling off the channel and setting on the ledges for these bait fish rolling on the flats. And I'm going to say there was 4 laydowns in particular that you could see that they're just out of the water. And we were rolling up on top of them, anywhere from 6 to 9 foot of water, and going on top of them. And she was had a crappie pro jig head with a minnow on it, and I would have an itty bit. And I rotated her through a few things as well, several different colors. Black and pink itty bit slab slayer, though, was a really good color as well. White, bone white chartreuse. We used several colors, but she would just set it down the side of one log, and then I was going down one side trying to pick out the big fish because they were just lined up directly under the tree. And what we were doing was putting a bait on both sides, trying to get them to come out because they were sitting just right under. It was a pain to get your bait to these fish, and they were lined up down it. I mean, there would be 50 to 100 fish under. I remember sending you a video of the fish, but yeah, so that was just unbelievable bite. The fish was a blast. I don't know how many fish we caught, but we were out there fun fishing, and then every once in a while you catch a really big one, and it was worth some money, so that made it even better. But we ran up the river day 2. We didn't get a fish, so we just fished day 1. But day 1, at the end of the day, we kind of got discovered by a couple tournament anglers, and then it kind of turned into a little fiasco a little bit, just because kind of figured out what we were doing. But until we got figured out, we were really putting on a show there.
You know, I ask you about that bait. We don't talk about that itty bit slab hunter probably enough, but
Slab slayer.
Slab slayer. Tell us about that bait. I mean, I know you have a lot of confidence in it, but I want you to describe how actually small this bait is to everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I need to find one and show you guys. It's a little bitty bait. How long is it, Brad?
I think it's 3/4 of an inch.
I was going to say 3/4 of an inch.
To an inch. I mean, it's
a little bitty profile. And one of my best baits I use too is the slab hunter, what you were talking about with the tail. And I like to drop that down on them. And when they're following it, I do a lot of raising. So when they're following it, I'll start bringing it up, and that tail gives a little shake. These fish were super lethargic, so I wanted a little less tail action. So I would grab that slab slayer, and then I would lower it down on them and just do the slowest. It's almost like I wasn't raising it, but I know I was a little bit. You know, when those fish kind of just barely nose up because they're so stuffed plumb full of shad. I mean, it was unreal. They were crapping all over the boat. They would just barely nose up, and I'd just move it a little bit for them, and it just barely tink, and then I'd get them. But if I had too much action on it, like the slab hunter or something else, they just wasn't wanting aggressive bait at all. It's almost like I had to just set it in their nose. So that's what I like about the slab slayer is it's not near as wild tail action, and it's just about as small as and going into the fall right now, getting the cold snap of the weather, we're in 73 to 75 degree water temp.
Wow, y'all dropping quick.
It dropped fast, so it's like I start as soon as it starts dropping, I drop my size of bait too. I'll start going down with it, and I'm imagining by November, December, I'm going to be using those itty bits a lot. trying to go really small for those fish. And then, of course, when it starts going up, I'll go up with it. But definitely love the itty bits, and that was a heck of a time. I hope that pattern will hold in tournaments in the future, because a 7-fish tournament would have been a blast as well. So awesome time. And I'm telling you, it's never, ever going to get old looking
Say
at this
cheese
bad
again.
boy. Ever. Huh?
Say cheese again.
Cheese.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. We got plaques, but I mean, really, though, this is the one that we really like. Grand Lake, no, that felt amazing. That was pretty cool. We had some pretty good fishermen out there, too, so it felt good. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Grand Lake, nobody ever took me up to the river section at all. So I don't know anything about the river section at Grand Lake. Nobody took me up there to show anything about the river.
From what you've seen at Grand Lake, a 1.5 pound fish is a big fish, but better yet, at 186 with no belly. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Went out there today and caught a couple of big ones doing the same thing. There's a lot of little tricks though to do that. Like, I think I could send boats to the same spot, and the way you approach them and the way you fish for them has to be spot on, or you'll be like, what do you mean they won't bite, or those aren't crappie? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I can tell you where we caught them and how we caught them, but you still have to go catch them. So I kind of
let's talk about that for a second. I like that subject, and I talk about a lot.
Especially. Now you want secrets.
Yeah. But I talk about a lot whenever I get people in the boat, and especially wanting to get a little better at live scope or learn it. And I want to talk to you about how you're approaching a known spot that you believe the fish are holding, or you see it. How are you approaching these fish?
So I hold a lot of pride in kind of that secret side of that thing. Like, I have my own system on getting up to these fish, because I think these fish are getting way smarter with the way we're fishing. Like, they're evolving as much as we are. So I think if you fly up to this pile, or you fly up to this brush pile, or like, I'm talking shallow too. Like, you seen out there in Grand, if they're 25 foot deep, I'm rolling right on top of them. Don't care at all. Boat slap, whatever. But these shallow fish on flats and stuff, I'm going to creep up to them. I'm turning my trolling motor on maybe 1 or 2 bars. I'm gonna get my motor running good enough to where I can shut my motor down, and I'm gonna glide into this place and use everything as less as possible. But you don't want to glide in it or past it. And I'll go on the downwind side and just start creeping up to it. I'll lower my trolling motor way down, and I'll creep right up to where those fish are just at range I can reach them. And then I'll just try to stay in that range, because you'll get caught and you'll start doing too much. You'll catch a few fish and end up on top of them. And what they were doing is, if we touched the tree, or if we got too close to them, they'd pull off the tree and go under our boat. And then the whole school, when I try to back up real hard, the whole school would just leave. They'd take off.
Yeah.
And that's costing you fish, especially in that situation. So I learned real quick that there was a real special way that I had to approach those fish. And then when you're catching them, you want to work on the outside edge in. You don't want to drag a fish from the back of the school through the school of fish, or it's all over too. Like, there's just several things that I learned through that whole process that I'm like, honestly, I don't know if it would have mattered if anybody fished those same trees, because it was definitely an art to it for sure.
Yeah. And, I see that all the time. Even open water fish, a lot of times if you catch that fish and you got to drag them through the other ones, it will pull those fish to your boat as you're reeling that fish in and bust them loose.
Sure. Absolutely.
I've seen that quite a few times even today out on the lake. And, kind of like Dustin was saying there a second ago, approaching a fish, whether it's suspended or on brush or a stump or standing timber or whatever. Personally, the ideal setup for me is facing into the wind, going to that target.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully early in the morning, I'd like to be facing into the sun, just for that whole casting the shadow effect. That's not always possible with the wind, but the number one factor that I'm gonna try to always do is face into the wind. I don't have rear brakes on the back of the boat. I think I'd catch more fish with them, but do I think it's a necessity necessarily? Probably not. And it's not for me anyway at this point. But whenever I'm approaching a target, whether it's a suspended fish, a fish on brush, or standing timber, whatever, I want to face into the wind and slowly ease up to him. And, the bad thing about it is you've got to work your foot so much. My foot is nonstop moving all day long. I should have like a ginormous right foot, because I'm right footed all the way.
Yeah. See, that's so funny you say that. That's the first tournament my wife had seen me fish, and
Yeah.
she's laying in the back, and she said, "I don't know how your calf muscle isn't just that big around, and one leg is lopsided." Which I switch legs all the time. I go left and right. But she's like, "I have no clue how you don't have just some crazy," because I'm sitting there constantly just fluctuating and going crazy with it. I'll even start cramping up where I'll have to like stretch my leg. It'll hurt so bad.
Yeah, top of my foot hurts every day, and that's just from flat out keeping that trolling motor fluttering back and forth and trying to get a perfect line up on a fish and such. But boat control comes back to even what Dustin was saying there a minute ago. And guys, if you want to learn how to fish better, number one thing that you could probably do, in my opinion, is buy boat control. Get out in a spot and on a windy day and have that wind push you back, and try to just, regardless if you got a pole in your hand or not, try to keep a boat in stationary in one spot, and you'll see how hard it is. And even for me, just as hard as a wind is a slack wind, no wind at all, because that boat starts to drift on you so much.
Yeah, that's what we were doing for that tournament. It was slack wind, no wind, and if I got out of control, went a little too fast, I couldn't turn around my trolling motor to stop my boat. And this was not, I mean, you'd get in trouble if you got up there too quick.
Yeah. Staying back away from these fish. And, even here, as that wind slacks up, these fish get more spooky for me. So you've got to be even stealthier when it's flat calm. And today we had flat calm lake on the reservoir, which I love it because I can fish anywhere I want to in the lake and jump around. And like I said, it's endless spots to fish.
Yeah.
But that slack wind can teach you just as much about boat control as a windy day. But practice boat control if you want to become a better fisherman, especially with live sonar. It showed that more and more over the last couple of years how great boat control can really make you a better fisherman. My today's fishing report is pretty similar to last week. My ideal targets are suspended fish. I seen Chad Wright, he's a buddy of mine that fishes the reservoir all the time. He pretty much had the same report. He nailed what I seen the last week as well. But, fishing for fish on structure were a little bit more lethargic. They would follow a bait, but they wouldn't commit to a bait. And I feel like I had the color and such dialed in pretty good. But if I could find them out suspended, from singles to, even my wolf packs, it's wolf season, guys, too. It's I'm looking for these groups of fish that are suspended. I really like when they suspend in these groups for the simple fact that I can make my live scope, set it out to 100, even 120 feet, and I can spot these schools of wolf packs and crappie. I'm not shooting actually wolves, but I'm looking for these wolf packs suspended out, and I can spot them really far out. So it gives me a big advantage of finding active areas. So wolf season, I'm looking for these little wolf packs, and I'm trying to get the downwind side of them, and I'm easing up to them. Now, my ideal casting range is 30 to 40 feet. I try not to ever get any closer to 20. And usually when a 20 is either we get hung up on something, or actually even on these slack days that I've noticed really is if you set a hook, you got a fish on and you really set the hook, you will make that boat even drift towards wherever those fish were as well. You really don't think that a pound and a half fish or what have you can pull a Ranger 620, but it can. It'll make you drift in that direction even a little bit by setting the hook and pulling that fish. So you got to be even mindful of that whenever you catch a fish. But I'm looking for wolf packs. I'm casting a 16th and a 32nd, just like last week. It just seems to me that it has the right retrieve ratio going away from these fish. Today's bite for me was the trick to really trigger them was coming up to the fish and having it fall right in front of them. Now, if you just drug it, like I said, probably the same thing last week seemed like. But if I would cast it and just bring that bait right across of them, they really didn't pay it too much attention. But if they seen that bait come to them and fall right in front of their face and then come back up, oh, it was game time. Yeah. You had a wolf come after you. And, you can see these bites and you can feel these bites. But these wolves, when they bite hard. And
Chad
it's
said the
just been a
drinking
great
game. Time to take a sip every time Brad says wolf.
day. It's going to be my fall word, I believe, because I've just been excited over seeing
I
it.
like it. Fair enough. I
And
think so. I speaking of wolf pack, I found my first wolf pack, a pretty good one. They were about 25 though to 30 foot deep, and this was why we were doing some filming for something coming up on Bobby Garland. Speaking of, so there's a little something going on at this expo that they're going to be showing y'all. But if you tune into Bobby Garland page, I think by the end, I bet by this weekend there will be some juice on there that y'all will love to see, and something new coming for Bobby Garland that I am super stoked for. Something that revolves around a little bit of live scope. I'm pumped. So you guys keep in touch on Bobby Garland. Kind of go like their page, give them a follow, and then see this new action they got coming out. And a little new bait, a little new style, a little something we haven't seen before. And I'm excited. I've whacked some fish on them so bad it should be against the law.
Dustin and I were talking about the same bait, and I shot a video with it last Friday, and went out and shot a video using this new bait, and I'm gonna release it this coming Friday as well, and showing how rig it and everything else. So stay tuned for that as well. We will show you all the different ways to use this bait. I know Dustin's done a lot of filming with it. I've done some filming with it. It's definitely exciting, and it's been hard to keep. It's kind of like Christmas time,
Yes,
you're trying to keep this present that you got, Taylor. You're trying to keep that hook us, and I'm trying to keep it from April, but you're kind of excited for everybody else to see it.
Yeah,
and,
new colors, oh man, new colors coming out. Some of my favorite colors in the version. I'm so pumped. Pumped almost ain't the word for it, but I am pumped for y'all to see this. It's just not going to be fair when everybody else gets them, though. It's going to make me nervous. Everybody's going to be taking all the crappie out.
It's going to be a good bait for everybody, I believe, and I'm looking forward to everybody's opinion and seeing it.
It's going to be good bait for sure.
Going back to even the colors that I'm using this week: mud dauber, horsefly, Cajun cricket, glacier, bone white chartreuse. Now spit it out. All of them really good tone colors for me. Something really cool that happened, and I see Tony Van Norman. He actually came and fished with me, I think last Wednesday. And Tony will testify, sure, on the comment. We whacked him that day, but probably 1, 2 o'clock. We had a front move in, actually a cold front move in last week, and it got real cloudy and kind of got dark. And all morning long, we were using these colors I'm telling you about. It was bright and sunny. We were using that bone white chartreuse and solid chartreuse. These natural tones I would call for our lake. Got cloudy, got dark, and the fish wasn't reacting anymore to the baits. And I told Tony, I was like, hang on a minute, let me change colors of baits. And this is a topic that always been really hot when it came to live scope. I said, let me change colors of baits real quick. I want to put on a black and pink. And first cast to the fish, he reacted, committed, and caught him. Yeah. And I was like, do you believe in color now? And Tony's like, man, that was just amazing. We put him on one real quick, and I'll be dogged. The second one, we caught it right out that. Just by changing that color same profile bait, but changing the color of the bait. When the clouds rolled in and it got kind of darker outside, we reacted, changed it, because I could tell that those fish wasn't reacting any longer to the same colors, whether it's they couldn't see it as well or what have you, but it kind of got dark, when a big front comes in, it gets kind of cloudy and everything. Sure. So we changed to a dark color bait then. Black and pink. And it was like a light switch. That color is called bluegill fire in the 80-bit slab hunter as well. But I put on a bluegill fire, cast it, and it was all the difference in the world. And I'm still a true believer when it comes to color, and that's definitely a factor that you guys, when you're on the water and you notice that the light conditions are starting to change, pop another color on, give it a shot. If you're not seeing those fish react them anymore at that point, it definitely can make the difference. I see Tony Van Norman, he just commented and said smoked them. Yeah, we smoked them, and I mean, like Tony, he'll testify here on the day's bite that color was all the difference at that point. What's up there, Dalco? Yeah, you're late, man. See you on the water dark and early. Well, I'm not going to be there dark and early in the morning. But I want to go back and I want to read some of these today's bites, fishing reports that I see. Got a lot of good guys giving some great reports out. Appreciate everybody taking the time and keying in these today's bite fishing reports. And it's helping out more than you know as far as spilling the beans on what you're doing and how you're catching fish. I have so many messages and text messages throughout the week, people saying, man, we tried that this week and it really worked. I seen a report on the today's bite. And so they're helping out, even though that you might say, well, my comment, my fish report wasn't talked about. Man, they help out everybody. And that's what it's all about, is helping out the fishing community.
For sure. And just real quick for you guys, Brandon Thomas was asking me about the new colors on Bobby Garland. Not a lot of shops are going to have them yet, but if you go to lurenet.com, you can get those new colors, as many as you want. Lurenet.com, and they've got the new colors, the old colors, and they're going to have a little something else here coming up real soon too to get. If you can't tell, I'm a little excited. You can also get these on Lurenet, Crappie Pro jig heads. Everything we use, you can get on lurenet.com. So
yeah,
it's got it all.
Talking about the itty bits slab slayers, this itty bit jig head right here fits that little dude perfectly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually a 164th. I don't have my reading glasses in here, but I know they have them a 148th and a 164th. And if you want to cast them or whatever, and you need to put a bigger jig head up front, that's fine. Put this little joker on the back, cast it out, sling it out, whatever. And but that little jig head, it is very light. But hey, man, they would definitely they'll catch more fish than you think, even with these little bitty deals.
Pat Robbins asked if you think the color of the jig head makes a difference. I definitely have noticed difference in jig heads. Again, it's just, I think, something to do with not the shadow, but maybe the way they see the bait with light. It's all different contrast. So with presentation is the most important thing with crappie. And with presentation, you have color to give you different shades. So I always think switching it up don't hurt nothing. If I'm struggling with one color, a lot of times I'm guiding multiple people. So I'll put 2 guys with a chartreuse head and 2 guys with a pink. And then when they're dropping down, they're fishing. If one's catching, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to have somebody with a certain color that's catching more. And then I'll switch them colors to that, and they will start catching more. So I definitely think jig heads will make a big, big difference too.
Another thing, like jig heads, and I might be a little crazy when it comes to this, but if I'm using a pink body to say, I don't want to use a pink jig head, I want to use a different color jig head to kind of make it pop a little bit, to say, like a black and chartreuse jig body, whether it's the slab slayer or anything else. If that's the color of the jig body, I want to use something else that really makes it pop as being the head of the bait. I always think of orange when it comes to black and chartreuse. I always just seem to gravitate towards a orange jig head whenever I'm using a black and chartreuse body. And whether like it's say an orange body, a Cajun cricket, I'm not going to use an orange head at that point. I'm going to use either a white, a blue, any other color tone, really. And that kind of goes back to with the sunlight. You might use a lighter color jig head if it's real bright outside, a white or a chartreuse to go along with it. But I like using a different color jig head compared to the body. It's just maybe my thing. I have seen patterns that can get really fine-tuned, especially when it comes to big fish. Now, if you're talking about just eating size fish, 8, 12-inch, what have you, I don't think it probably matters as much on most days. But I think those big 2-pound plus fish, that can definitely make a difference between them letting it swim past them, them go ahead and inhaling it. But details. You've heard us talk about it. Probably, I don't know if you could probably have a cent for every time somebody mentioned details on the Crappie Connection. You'd probably be well off. But I believe in details, and I believe in just trying to fine tune them, but let's get some fishing reports. Come on with it. Come on with them. Scott saying he'll see me Sunday at the Crappie Connection. Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm real curious how that goes. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you next week on here. Pat Robbins said, "Now I got to spend more money on jig heads." Pat, you don't have to, but it doesn't hurt. It's just like anything else. It never hurts if you can't figure out what they're doing. Sometimes I can't get anything but a lead head, like no color. A lot of times no color on the jig head works. So it just depends. I'm a big fan of chartreuse and pink, though. I know that my man here likes pink, but I'm a big fan of a pink jig head and a chartreuse jig head. Those are my top two go-tos probably.
Yeah, jig head, like I said, as long as it's a different color, I like going with it. Michael Drake's asking about the scroll speed on side scan. It depends on that question there. It depends on what manufacturer you're going to, I believe. I know Humminbird, the scroll speed and the speed of the boat is a big factor. I've never been a big Humminbird guy, so I don't really want to pretend that I am and know a lot about that. Side scan, now I'm using Garmin units, and I haven't really had to do a whole lot of adjusting to the actual side scan. They're pretty plug and play for the most part. You can fine tune a little bit, but as far as the scroll speed, I've never had to even think about that on the Garmin stuff. Even on Lowrance, I didn't.
Mike Boyd, the website for the jig heads or the jigs and jig heads are lurenet.com. LURENET.com. All no space or anything, just for the website. He asked about it. And you're gonna kind of run into problems on that website because when you type it in, they have all kinds of things: bass lures, bandit crankbaits, everything. So you might leave with a few more things than you wanted to. But speaking of crankbaits, those bandit crankbaits are on there too.
Yeah, I've heard. I've had a few people order them this past couple of weeks, and have hearing some good things about other people catching them on these bandit crankbait 300s. You can check them under the LureNet Custom Paint Shop. And if you order them right now, I don't know how long this code's going to last. So, if you're getting ready even to pull crankbaits this year or even the following year, crankbaits don't go bad. So get in there and order, and make sure you use the Crappie Connection 15 to get 15% off all those crankbaits right now. And they've got 5 colors. Of course, Monkey Milk, that's a dynamic color. Cajun Cricket, Electric Chicken. You got Purple Monkey and Pink Eye. And so make sure you take advantage of that while you can, while that code's still good.
Jacob Stevenson had a good fish report. He said, I fished Toronto Lake both days this past weekend to help a buddy get some crappie for a fish fry. It found all of our fish suspended in 12 to 20 foot of water spider rigging. We ran a double minnow rig, and we were targeting 7 to 12 foot deep. Great weekend together. Jacob, were you on a flat or the channel? Just curious, because I may know what lake that is.
You got Brandon Thomas. Did you read the Brandon's Fish from Lake Hudson?
No, I didn't see he put one, but I'm glad he did. Let's hear it.
Lake Hudson, water temperature 75 degrees, structure, fish on structure 12 to 14 foot of water, lots of bait fish starting to move up, and crappie are feeding up. Absolutely. Shane Jones, yeah, man, we'll hope to see you Sunday at the Crappie Expo. Let us know who else is coming to the Crappie Expo. Make sure you guys bump into us. We got a Barnett fish report. Tim Smith. Fishing singles in 8 to 10 foot in 14 to 16 foot of water on brush. 132nd Cajun Cricket tipped with a minnow.
Ooh, Cajun Cricket is a killer.
Cajun Cricket. It's been good
for sure.
Forever, I think. But
Josh Bolware, my Grand Lake buddy, pretty much said the same the same pattern I'm fishing. He actually fished that tournament the second day. He said it helped putting an apple tag on my boat to save time pre-fishing. He used a pink 16th ounce with no weight above it, 8 to 11 foot of water.
Tony Skeen, what's going on there, Rod? I'll make sure I got any kind of questions, you guys, as we're here tonight. If I'm not able to answer them or Dustin's not, go ahead and put any kind of questions on there. We'll try to catch them up for later for sure. I always get people messaging me questions, but I don't know if you've got a question when it comes to crappie fishing. Shoot them out here while we're live. And like I said, if I can't answer them, Dustin can't answer them. I'm sure there's somebody watching tonight that can actually chime in and give you the answer you're looking for. I know there is actually. I'll make sure I'm trying to catch up with everybody.
I'll be dang. Kristen Case, he said that he stacked them up pushing crankbaits in southeast Kansas, 8 feet deep in the channel. Starting to catch the suspended fish, it sounds like. I like it.
Wolf
They're
pack.
getting into them wolf packs. Yeah.
Wolf packs.
Yeah, he fishes around here too as well. So that's awesome to see. He's whacking them. Pushing crankbaits. That's cool. That's got to be a blast catching crappie like that.
They definitely are. I mean, it's another fun way to catch crappie. And I mean, literally, you can put somebody in the back of the boat or front of the boat that has no experience or no desire to do live sonar and let them come home with a box full of crappie. These fish are starting to suspend out. Like I said, probably about, well, today's the 19th. I'd say the last 2 weeks, they're really starting to wanting to suspend and look for fish to feed up on. The res fish are fat, healthy. Um, they don't have to work a lot. So, the fish that we're finding, we're trying to put the bait right in front of them. Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to these suspended fish, even is that strike zone. I really think it seems to me whenever water temperature is dropping, the strike zone's probably a little bit smaller. And as it stabilizes, it expand out. And I know a lot of people are going to ask whenever you start long lining, and I think you really could catch some fish right now long lining on the reservoir. I think you might have to dial down your speed a little bit compared to what I'm used to doing. But if you get that right height coming over those baits to those fish, you probably do fine. I need to go long line. I really haven't been able to do it. Jess Meadows, Billy Coleman. I'm trying to catch everybody. I don't want to miss anybody out tonight. Jordan. Let's see if I got any other reports. I'm way behind, guys. Mike McQueen, I seen you out there. Swinging a minnow jig head in front of them and then raising it up. Lots of big specks. The bigger the stump, the better on the ledges. Shad was thick. Absolutely, shad is very thick all over the lake. Good sign. They got a lot to eat.
Oh yeah, they'll stay healthy. Michael Perry said the monkey milk swim body on an 1/8 ounce and 15 foot of water on flats near the creek mouth. Sounds like a lot of the same patterns going on. Brian said the NCL on Barnett's going to be fire in late October.
I believe it.
I bet you Brad might know where some big ones are then.
Yeah. Right now I would anyway. Now it could change. Mm-hmm. I see Jeff Martyr, Lake Chico, which I know that's a tournament coming up on the hit list. A lot of guys are probably paying attention to that comment right there. Magnolia Crappie Club will be going here shortly. But minnow and jigs right now fishing on the bottom 10 to 17 foot of water. Lake Chico, several people asked me about what kind of weight it's going to take out of Lake Chico, and that's the 7-fish tournament we're talking about. I would think probably around 15 pounds. Well, that's going to be my guess. And it's going to be some really good fish coming out of that lake. Let's see if I can catch you. All right, Mr. Kent Williams. Oxbows on the Mississippi River. The bite has been slow. Fish are scattered in 16, 20 foot of water. Most are holding around 8 foot deep. I seen Ken's TikTok today, actually, too. Fish are finicky. Plenty of shad, and the fish are well fed. Our best luck has been build a jig by them and creating a reaction bite. Bait color has been electric chicken, white chartreuse with pink head, both on the 16th. Great report there.
Kent Fisk said, when you're live scoping, do you use a weight above your jig to show so it'll show up better? Ken, the only reason I would be using a weight is to get down there faster or with the wind. Seeing your bait just has to do with working the live scope and knowing where you're at. But it does help having 2 dots. So if you wanted a weight above it, that would help. But the reason I do it is just to get it down there faster. Don't have time, or that's deeper water. So I'll put a big weight above it just to get my little jigs down there quicker. But good question.
I haven't seen any fishing reports yet, Mitch, from Illinois. If you guys got any fishing reports from Illinois, let's hear them. Or Mitch, have you been fishing in Illinois? Let's hear what you got.
Illinois.
Yeah.
They've got some giant bucks out there in Illinois.
Rod B. I found wolf packs. I like everybody using that. Wolf packs, close to brush piles on the bottom, pack of 6 or so. Big fish sitting close to smaller crappie on brush piles. The wolf pack season is here.
Wolf pack season.
Crappie Ruler, he's got no fishing report, but he's listening to some. I appreciate you coming on here, Crappie Ruler. And this guy here too, he's making some really cool. And he messaged me and told me he has a crappie connection in the works. I haven't seen it yet, Crappie Ruler, so I'm gonna put you on the limelight and see. Hey, we're waiting to see our crappie connection, Crappie Ruler. I think Dustin even can use one.
What?
A crappie ruler. Measure your fish.
Maybe.
Maybe you should.
Do I use a crappie ruler? Is that what you asked?
This guy's making a custom. He has some really cool custom crappie measuring rulers.
No way.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Now, listen, we got to talk more about that because, yeah, I use crappie rulers a lot.
Well, I think today's bite ruler would be really cool, huh?
I think something to do with like Dustin's ruler would be pretty cool.
Or Taylor. Well, she was the winner.
Crappie ruler. Oh, wait a minute.
Bobby, man, appreciate you coming on and watching. Ricky, Jeff, Pat. Pat Roberts, he went fishing with me about a little over a week ago. He actually sent me a video of a box full of itty bits after fishing with me last week, so that's a good deal.
Man, this one hurts my feelings. Larry Wallard asked if I'm fishing the Crappie Masters on Eufaula this week. I am not. I overbooked some trips. Got some important ones coming from Iowa, and I'm not going to be able to fish this tournament. It's a big tournament. I wish I could have fished it, but life happens, and I better pull the adult card on this one. So I'm going to take care of these guys' guide trip and maybe get after it next year on the Classic for the Crappie Masters. But I will be at Grenada for the Elite Series, and I'm ready for that. I think it'll be the Classic. I think $50K on the line, so that'll be a blast. Big tournament, and looking to catch some big old Grenada fish.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably take about 16 pounds to win that one, that's looking like.
Lloyd Clayton says, great show, learn a lot. Appreciate you, Lloyd, for the comment. That's why we're doing it, guys. Like I said, if you got a question, Lloyd, about crappie fishing, don't be shy. Shoot them out there. Michael Drake, he got some questions tonight. I like it.
Which Wolfpack lure?
Maybe that could be a new name for a bait.
That'd be funny.
Or even a color, Wolfpack.
Might be on to something. Oh, yeah. There you go.
I like it. We're kind of throwing things out there. You never know what might stick.
Oh, yeah. You never know.
You know, Bo, he's asking me about the old Hickory Expo. I don't think so at this point. I'd like to see more about it, and I'm sure it's a great event. So possibly so. I'm not going to rule out anything. If it's a lot of people being there and some things that we can get from that, we would definitely go.
There is a website. You might stop saying this because there's a website, wolfpacktackle.com. Somebody just put it on. Yeah, someone just put it on there. That's funny. Dark Side Crappie Company, he said, Shelbyville Lake, Illinois, pre-fish for an upcoming tournament. Found active fish from 8 to 17 foot of water, open water, standing timber, and stumps. Sounds like crazy pattern there. It always looks like from my guy, Matt England, that guides out there. He catches them all kinds of ways as well. Good luck to you on that tournament, and let us know the outcome. I'm super curious what it takes, and is it a 7-fish tournament or how that works? That's awesome.
Let's hear some guesses this week. We'll go. I see Patrick Stone asking what would be a good guess for the Logan Martin, and let's hear a good guess for your fall over there.
Logan Martin's 13 pounds a day. And then Eufaula will be 13 pounds a day. Nah, I'm not seeing 13. I'm going to say, 12 3/4 pound a day of Eufaula. We'll see.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I think Logan Martin, what I've heard even from Lee Pitts the other day and such, it kind of makes me think if somebody could get on a blackfish bite, they could probably push it over 14. I don't know if they could do it those days straight.
Yeah.
But I would say 13.5 for Logan Martin. And, I'm going to think that many quality anglers up there you follow too. I think it's going to take the same. So I'm going to say 13.5 both tournaments, both days to win them.
That's a pretty good one. That's a good guess there. Because what I've heard of Eufaula, it's not near what it was when they were out there beating them up last time. But we'll see. Because those fish got to be somewhere. Someone said that they hoped that Chad wasn't playing along with the Wolfpack drinking game. And Chad said he's on his third glass.
Well, the lures that I'm using when going to my wolf packs are the itty bit slab hunters right now. So go ahead and take another drink there, Chad.
Yeah, poor Chad.
And Brian, man. I think both of the guys are playing along with that. So both of you guys go ahead and drink. But my wolf packs is definitely by the Bobby Garland Baits. And
you'll be out there howling with the wolf pack.
Huh?
They'll be out there howling with the wolf pack. When is the Magnolia crappie tournament on Chico?
I'm sure Chad Rogers can chime in here or Brian Avery and let us know the exact dates. I think it's about 3 weeks away. So it's first part of October, middle part of October, something like that. Chico's going to be a real good tournament for him, I believe. Roger,
did you know the Eufaula tournament is 3 days as well?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that until today. October
14th. Ask me about my new motor. I got a few kinks. I got to adjust the motor height, and I'm not sure I have all the way the right prop on there yet. But so far, I really like the Suzuki. I've got a little bit, like I said, fine tuning to really max it out, I think. But I think I'm gonna really like it. I mean, it does what I hear, and everybody else says that they're great motors. And right now, I don't have any complaints. Like I said, I'm gonna have to adjust my motor height, and so I got to take it back.
What's it run compared to what your last motor did? Like how fast?
Well, it's hard to say because right now I'm only getting about 5,400 RPMs. I think it's a little too high, so I think it needs to be dropped down really about 2 notches in the back to really get up to that 57 to 59 or 6,000 RPMs to really test it out. But I'm running about 53, 54.
That's pretty
and
good.
That's a full load.
That's a
2 other guys in a boat.
Yeah.
Full of gas. So I think we should be able to get a little bit faster than that with it drop down and maybe a different prop. So I'm still playing with it, but so far I like it a lot, Roger, to answer your question.
Yeah. Does it sound a lot different than your last motor running?
Yeah. Running there the other day, I guess about 2 weeks ago, the first week or the second week after I got it, but it was raining really hard and I had to sit on the bridge while a storm passed, and I really couldn't even hear the motor running. It's extremely quiet. You've got to pay attention to make sure you cut it off whenever you load the boat because it is so quiet.
Yeah, I've been on some of those 250s and that, and I mean it is the water peeing out of the motor is louder than the motor running. I mean it's unreal to me.
Go ahead and get down here.
Dalco Turner said, change lures and colors 7 times Monday on the res before I found what they wanted. That's funny. I hear you there. Been done now.
George's saying 8 to 9 pounds on Lake Fella here. It's slow. It's going to take more now, I believe. Jaron Jordan.
Jaron. They always talk it low, and then it'll bounce. I guarantee you, 12 to 13 pounds a day for 3 days straight. I guarantee it. There ain't no way 8-9 pounds. Because I mean, yeah, but they will talk like that. You got to watch them guys talking on them tournaments. You got to watch them.
Really. Uh,
It's all doc talk. They're doing that. It's all try to get in each other's heads a little bit.
Tim, I got a Suzuki 250 SS is what I got. 2024 model. It's pretty.
Larry Jones
October
said he
14th.
caught a limit. Go ahead.
No, got it.
Oh, October 14th for Chico tournament. Yeah.
Yep.
Larry Jones said he caught a limit of mostly 11 and 12-inch black crappie 10 foot deep on stake beds last Thursday on Kentucky Lake on a big sandy area. A 30-second itty bit, Cajun cricket, and monkey milk. I like money milk.
I do too. That's pretty cool.
maybe monkey milk with a little gold flake. We'd call it money
green
milk. Ooh, money milk. Larry Jones, thanks for the fishing report. A sandy area. I'm not sure if I ever really caught.
I think that he's talking about that's the arm of that lake, big sandy.
Oh, God, it makes a lot more sense now. I'm like, I can't say I've ever caught them on a sandy area of a lake. Except
I've heard of people doing it.
Do
Jordan
what?
asked. I've heard of people catching them off sandbanks or sandbars and such, but somebody's asking about Lake Lee and Ferguson up there for that Magnolia. I would tell you Lake Lee is pretty much you cannot get a boat in there, so you can cancel that off your list. Lake Ferguson is extremely low right now too. You probably can still get a boat in at Ferguson, and it's a possibility at Ferguson, but personally, I'm not fishing that tournament, so it really don't matter to me. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I think Chico will be the winner and weight off of it, flat out. So.
Yeah. Brad Edgar saved me. He just was a little late, brother. He said Big Sandy is an area. Mm-hmm. He made me look like Goober. Then he told me. Chad Rogers said it's closed in most tournaments.
Yep. Crappie Anglers of Texas State Championship coming up October 27, 28, Lake Fork. Better have 16 plus pounds. Clay Gann or Jerry Hancock. I can see that, what I've always heard about Lake Fork, especially being at the end of October, these fish should be really on their fall pattern and fed up by then.
Yeah. This fella must not heard of Cale Ward and Dylan Gossett, though. Cale Ward and Dylan Gossett definitely is my bet there. But if there was anybody else, Jerry Hancock and Clay Gann's another monster on that lake.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jerry
Brian.
Hancock, you never know with him now. He may not even fish it. I don't know.
I bet he is. I think Jerry's out elk hunting. I actually tried to call him yesterday, so I think he's actually going out now elk hunting.
Really? Man, he's living the life, ain't he? He getting that new place built, got that land, he's golfing, and now he's elk hunting.
Brian saying that Cajun cricket will catch fish in any lake in Mississippi. I would think Cajun cricket, honestly, I'm going to go beyond Mississippi. It's going to catch fish in just about any lake.
All over the U.S. Yeah. Tie it on and put it in front of a crappie. It's going to eat it 9 times out of 10. I agree.
Jeff Marr saying 15 pounds will be hard on Chico or strong. Yeah, they would definitely be strong on Chico, but I definitely think it's possible. Jeff, what do you think? I know Jeff lives on that lake. He fishes a lot, but I think they're in there. And group of guys coming in to fish that tournament, they are very likely to find them and catch them up there.
Yeah. They ain't no slouches, are they?
No. Well, who else is coming to the Crappie Expo? Let's get some chime in. Who can I anticipate seeing this coming week up at the Crappie Expo?
Crappie Expo is always a fun deal to go to. I hate that it's so far away from us this year, but the expo is pretty fun, meeting all the guys and the camaraderie.
And like I said, you're going to be able to see the new BG baits coming out from there. And
oh boy,
me and Dustin have been sitting on this for a little while just because we couldn't let the cat out of the bag yet, but definitely get to feel them and touch them and even taste them if you want to down at the expo this weekend. I know they'll have them down there.
Even taste them.
Even taste them.
Billy Coleman said he's coming Saturday.
Oh, good. Make sure you come by the booth there, Billy, and say hi.
And you know there's more going on than giving hats or whatever, guys. A hug gets you a long ways out there. So grab a hold of Brad's neck, and I mean put him in neck-to-neck hug, guys.
I haven't seen Charles Henderson. Speaking of the hugger, he loves the hugs.
Yeah,
I
seen him today. I seen him pop in. I think.
No, I didn't know.
I think he did.
Definitely want to say, as always, appreciate Bobby Garland Baits for supporting the Crappie Connection and today's bite. They help us keep this show on the road and moving along, and that's what it's all about. And cannot thank everybody enough for coming on here every week, from Chad Rogers to Bobby to you name it. There's too many, Brandon. I mean, there's too many people to even list that come on here every week. So definitely thank you guys for coming on here every week. And I'd like to do some live things down there, even when I'm down there.
That'd be cool. Let's see. I was going to say something. Oh, Keith Jernigan says he's heading to the Crappie Expo with his friend Robert Clark. So y'all, that's about 3 or 4 hugs that he's guaranteed this week. Y'all go give him some hugs and give him a look. Brad is a big hugger, so y'all get a hold of him.
Yeah.
When we first met,
I'm a better handshaker.
Listen, guys, when we first met, I gave him a hug. I just walked up and hugged him before even knowing him. He gave me a hoodie and a hat. Okay, so y'all just remember that when you see him and giving him hugs and stuff. It goes a long ways with him, because I seen him meet a lot of other people with no hug, and he didn't give them nothing.
Can you watch some of the expo on YouTube? Very possible. We will find out more when I get there as far as that goes. I would like to do some live streaming of stuff while we're down there. Plan on doing a little bit more on the TikTok side of things. That was a tongue twister.
The old tick side.
But we will definitely try to do as much as we can down there. I know I'm planning on filming some podcasts down there, and shoot us out some suggestions on shows that you don't think I've covered yet, and maybe we can cover them while I'm down at the expo. I know there'll be some good folks down there to sit in and help me do some of these deals. Pat Robinson, no, you shouldn't have hugged me last week there, Pat.
Yes, you should have, Pat. You got to give him a hug, brother.
Right, come on down to the expo, man.
Robert Sanders said, what size of jig heads y'all use on them itty bits? The itty bits, I like to use a 24th, the Moglo jig heads, and a 24th or a 32nd. And they fit that thing just perfect and lets me just slam them. I can yank a big fish in with them, no problem.
Yep. Mike's asking what state the expo is in. It is in Birmingham, Alabama. You should be able to see it all over the internet. I'll post a link here this week of
what drive is for you, Brad?
I think it's about 3.5. I haven't even looked. I know where we're going. It's not. It's pretty close.
That ain't bad at all for you. Heck no. Hey, it's a lot closer than what it was last year then.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot closer.
He brought it close to the house.
Brad Mitchell's asking, what's the water temperature on the res now? Today, I seen 77 degrees and 78. Beautiful day out here. Tomorrow's supposed to be just as gorgeous as today. Light winds, be able to fish a lot of the lake. Got some folks coming in from Arkansas that fish with me a good bit, and they're coming down to try some of these September wolf packs. There you go, Chad Rogers again for you.
It hasn't stopped raining since this show started here. We've had thunder, a little bit of a storm blowing in. I think it's gonna rain all the way until tomorrow mid-morning. And then I'm gonna run a trip after it blows out of the way. So hopefully them fish are still waiting on me down there.
Yep, it's gonna be 100+ vendors, like Byron was just saying there. It's gonna be a good thing. Like Crappie Forever, Bobby Garland. Man, I know B&M poles will be there. A lot of people that I can't even go through now, but it's always
all you guys need to worry about is that new bait, Bobby Garland. You go visit Bobby Garland's booth and go ask him about it. Tell him you've seen it here.
I know we'll be set up pretty close to them as well. Should be a fun deal. It's always fun seeing everybody in the crappie fishing world and meeting up together.
For sure.
David Townsend, what's up there, David?
David, man, I ain't heard of him in a while. Heard from him in a while. Good evening, gentlemen. David, how is it going, buddy? We just went to that trimming tournament, and your ears must have been burning because me and Ken was looking around for you. We grabbed some of your tackle at a shop there, a new shop. I forgot. Not a new shop, just one we'd never heard of, but it was an awesome little hunting and fishing store. Super cool.
Donnie's saying he's just trying the active target, and then I think that's the Humminbird version. And there might be some more guys that I know. Dustin uses the Garmin Live Scope, and I use the Garmin Live Scope as well. So I can help you out a lot with active target. I know in the crappie fishing world, for the most part, everybody's using the Garmin Live Scope. You probably didn't want to hear that, but that's just honesty. Yep, Magnolia Crappie Club. I have a booth down there. I'm not sure they have shirts or anything else, but I know they usually have some a booth down there as well. My buddy Michael Sylvester with Eagle Lithium Mad Scientist batteries. He's going to come down with me. We're riding together. And actually, we're going to do a giveaway with one of his Live Scope batteries, his custom built lithium batteries for your Live Scope. So definitely want to check us out and get in on that giveaway that is given away by him.
Batteries are hard to come by nowadays. You have to give an arm and a leg for them, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to get off here tonight. It's about 8 o'clock. That's normally what we do, but look out for the rest of the week. And if you're coming down to the expo, make sure you come by and say hello and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everybody on the YouTube side of things, if you hadn't done it already. And, we're getting close to that 10K crappie connection, and then maybe I won't have to say that every week.
Well, we'll see, I guess.
But I think I will be saying Wolfpack for a while longer.
There you go.
One more time there for you, Brian, and
yeah,
Chad Rogers.
I appreciate you guys very much. We'll be tuning in next Tuesday with a good update on this new bait coming out, and super excited. Big things coming this week. Y'all get after it. Stay tuned and have a blessed week.
That's right, Brian. Till next time, guys. Brad Chappell here.
Dustin.
The
Crappie Slayer.
Sloppy Slayer. Till next time, guys. See you next week.
Keep it crappie.
Keep it crappie. Keep after the wolf packs.